people, but if you have a better communication with yourself and your self-talk, you'll have so much better communication with everybody else in your life. Like, damn it, I need to work on this in the gym. I'm not fit enough. I'm too fat. I'm this, I'm that. Man, I don't have this. Man, I'm so angry. I have to go to work today. Man, my car, I need to fix this damn door, this piece of crap. Man, I hate the gas prices are almost $5 a gallon. Man, there's this. You're manifesting total destruction.
Man, you saying that's all I got? Man, that's all you need! That's it!
And we're back!
Hello.
Here we go. You want to start off our ad?
Yeah, come to NutriShop so you can be like me. You got me like Arnold. Look at this. You need the greens for your protein in your muscles and pH balance and water. I feel like a gorilla right now because the gorillas eat greens all day and they're big and muscular and they can lift a car for building, no problem. You come and take the Super Greens. Super Greens, 40 nutrients, superfoods. California organic certified, no sugar. You can't get better than that. Like me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, telling you right now to come. My real name's Nick Jones, but it doesn't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Stop giving me excuse and go to the gym anyway.
Arnold, where can we find our greens and all of our good protein?
You come to NutriShop in Livermore. We got everything you need. With the greens, the super greens, every green you have, all the protein you need, the gainers, the isolated protein, no sugar. There are clinically studied products, patent ingredients. You come now. I take a look at my body. It's so perfect. How does he do it? They take all the supplements from NutriShop Livermore. We can give you meal plans. We can give you discounts and free product. Come now. Tell them we sent you. Or else I'll find you and be a Terminator.
That was honestly one of the better Arnold impressions I've ever heard.
Thank you so much.
That was super good. You just pulled that out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
I didn't even know.
Oh my
didn't even know.
God. That's crazy. As soon as you started talking, I was like, are you the Terminator?
Yes, what are you doing now?
Oh
You look
my
like you need
God.
more protein. Do the reps now.
You know, when I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know what's really funny is that, like, besides all the bodybuilding and the muscles and everything, I think of Kindergarten Cop. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Have you seen Kindergarten Cop? That is the OG movie. That's one of his older movies, like, when he first started acting that, like,
Yeah.
people don't know a lot about.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Kindergarten Cop, go see Kindergarten Cop if you like Arnold.
Go watch it.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
Oh, my God. Well, anyways, we're back. Episode number 2, right,
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
We're back at it again.
Dose.
We're coming back at you guys trying to fill your lives with some pretty awesome information and entertain you in the process.
Let's do it.
So I think we're gonna get started. Nick, I know we were talking before the podcast started that you were having some self-thought in the gym, right? And that you were kind of things were going off, fire in your head,
Yeah.
different things that was kind of like speaking true to you right in the moment. I know you were like, hey, this is perfect for the podcast. We got to get going on this and start talking about different ways of your mentality, and we touched on a little bit in episode 1. If you didn't watch that, go check it out. But get us going. What were you thinking today?
Pretty much. So last time, episode 1, we broke down a little bit of, like, we mentioned law of attraction. We mentioned subconscious mind, conscious mind. You hear successful people say that all the time, but what's that really mean? So I kind of want to go from the surface and dig, right? From
Like the foundation that we laid in episode 1.
Exactly.
Right?
And then dig a little deeper into that. Like we, said what we're about, said what people are going to get out of this, but I really want to dive into what you can really get out of this. So like me, I'm intense, and if I see something I want to do, I'm going to do it with reckless ambition, but not everybody just does that, right? So, this is just going for every demographic, for anybody out there who's stuck and who's struggling. Take it from someone who's living proof, right? I'm living proof that you can get out of any rough spot. Like, I've had tons of debt. I've had tons of doubt in myself. I've had many times I'm like, why am I doing this, right? Like, what is life? And so at a younger age, like we talked about last time, all those messages, like when my family was so harsh and I was like, one day this will be different. Like, you know what I mean? And you said that's crazy how at a young age you can get that. I didn't understand why. And I really think a lot of people, who are gifted in life just don't understand. We all have a gift, right? We're not like more superior or special than anybody, but we all have a gift. And so we need to understand why. And so I broke it down, and off the few seminars I went to and saw Bob Proctor, and he spoke about subconscious mind and conscious mind. Well, I dug a little deeper, and basically, in my experience, what I've noticed, about 80% of the world lives life through their subconscious mind. Everything we do is subconscious. Everything we do. Texting. People text and drive and don't even know it.
Right.
I heard a friend the other day in a conversation. He's like, dude, how did I get home when I was just like zoning out the entire time?
That's like a science behind that, where there's like, I forgot the name for it now, but there's something that's called that, where like it's specifically for when you're driving and you just black out, and all of a sudden you were at one place and now you're sitting in the driveway at your house, and you're like, how the heck did I get here?
That's all your subconscious.
Like, did I kill somebody on the way over here?
Yeah, subconsciously. And like when people forget things at home, you forget if you left the door unlocked or the garage door still up, or all that stuff is subconscious, you know? Even eating is subconscious, breathing is subconscious, going to sleep is subconscious, brushing your teeth, everything is just subconscious. And that can be dangerous, because sometimes when you're doing enough subconscious things, it becomes, your habits. You don't know who you are. You don't know why you're doing those things. And it could lead to, no clarity. It could lead to misunderstandings, arguments, things like that. So the conscious mind is completely different, right? And think about when the last time you had a gut feeling, and then the time before that you had a gut feeling. That's your conscious mind telling you something to listen to is going on. And most of the time when you disregard it or don't listen to it, guess what happens? A catastrophe, or something terrible, or that you totally didn't want to happen in the first place.
Right. And
now you have to clean up your own mess. So how can we prevent that from happening? How can you purposely live consciously, right? And you hear people say it all the time, like we said in the last episode, don't do things differently, a different routine, drive a different way to work, stop going to Starbucks every day, like only go 3 days a week, or like go to a different gas station every time you fill up your car, like things like that. But it's way, way deeper. So one time in 2017, I got all these vibrations from people, and I realized in life, like, again, Buddhists call it philosophy, physicists call it the universal law of attraction, Christians call it the Holy Ghost. I personally believe in it's God and the Holy Spirit, but deep down, it's in our soul, in our spirit. And in 2017, I had trouble falling asleep because I got all these vibrations and frequencies from everything in life.
You're talking about like the whole year of 2017?
Whole year, 2017. I couldn't, like, for some reason, like February or March, that year, I just had trouble falling asleep. And I mean, life was great. You know what I mean? Like, well, it sucked that my first roommate that I lived with, 6 months after we moved out, he passed away, like, rest his soul. And he was young. He just turned 22 at the time. But like, that was a big down, of course. But everything after that in life at 2017 was really good. And I can understand why am I not falling asleep. Like, I'm in good shape. I'm strong. I'm going to the gym every day. I was training jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? I was at the time single, but I was happy and playing the field and stuff. And I was in a really good job and like all that stuff. And I was making some good money. I was like, why am I having trouble sleeping at night? When I'm by myself in bed, what it came down to was like I couldn't. So, the owner of ATP Fitness, where I'm a trainer at, he is one of my best friends. And so he is like a big brother to me in a way. And he used to work at Crunch with me. And we're in the Blackhawk Plaza, and there's like ducks and ponds and rivers and like all this peaceful stuff. We're having lunch, and he's like, when's the last time you meditated? Because I told him about this, and he's a very like peace, like let it go kind of guy.
That hippie type of guy, like you see in the movies.
Hey man, it's all good, man.
See, I can't trust a lot of guys like that. I just never know. I'm like, don't you feel any sort of emotion? Like,
well, no, of course he has he has emotion, but he's just so like he doesn't let the small things get to him. You know what I mean? And he's very, very good on just like not judging. He moves on, like he doesn't get very angry, and it's really cool actually to see that. Like it's really refreshing to be around someone like that. You know what I mean? It definitely keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
So I closed my eyes and I meditated, and basically we're sitting outside, and it was starting to get like sprinkly out. I had a baseball tee on that day, like a mid-sleeve shirt, and he was like, you need to meditate. I got to go back upstairs, to work, and I have more clients and stuff. Well, I had an hour to kill, and I was like, all right, so I'm going to give this real meditation thing a try, like for real. And I downloaded Pandora Plus, and it was like no commercials, and it's I typed in calm meditation radio, and it's just melodies like nonstop. And dude, I haven't done drugs in years. I don't drink. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, this is insane how this happened. And so I sat outside and said, screw it. I don't care who sees what. I'm gonna close my eyes and take deep breaths, and I'm gonna start this. And I heard in the distance in my headphones, my ear, like iPod headphones, the wind and the waterfall with the Black Hawk Plaza, all the nice setting, like the ducks and stuff like that, and the little nature. Well, all of a sudden, all my thoughts, I couldn't get them out of my head. And there was like 5 or 10 minutes of thoughts. Because when's the last time we did anything without, thinking?
Right.
And the rain sprinkling on my arm and my skin, stuff like that. Like, it wasn't like crazy rain, it's just little tiny drizzles and stuff. All of a sudden, I really kept my eyes closed and was like, no, I'm sticking with this. And I kept taking deep breaths. That faded away. All of it faded away. I couldn't even hear like the breeze. I couldn't feel the sprinkles on my skin. All my thoughts shut off. Then I heard my own heart functioning inside of my chest. Like, I heard my organs working, blood flowing in my veins. I felt like I was a little ant, like inside of my own body.
And
like,
you weren't on drugs?
No, this is crazy. I was like, dude, I can hear my heart, like everything going on, like little blood and like the warmth and body temperature and all this stuff, right? Like in my body. I got overwhelmed. Like, I'm gonna back out and open my eyes. Like, I'm just freaking. I'm like, no. You can do this. Like, keep going. And I kept breathing, and finally I enter this like solar system. I'm in like bird's eye point of view of literally like a solar system, and I see the sun, and I see all these planets like Earth, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Mars, Pluto, all of them. And I realized each planet represents something in life. And people are listening to this like, this guy's crazy. So, Earth is joy, peace, clarity, happiness. Saturn was darkness, hatred, cruelty, selfishness. Jupiter represented like finance, money, careers, income, things like that. Every planet represented something. Uranus was relationships, like family, friends.
This is something that you've subjectively labeled these things as, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I saw them like, every planet represented something, so you get the point.
Yeah.
So I took a deep breath, and in this realm, like, I put all the planets on the same orbit that Pluto was on. So they're all lined up in a big circle with each other, and then you have the sun. The sun's a gravitational pull. The sun is the groundskeeper of its environment wherever it goes, just like our real sun, right? It holds everything together. And then all the thoughts, stresses, feelings, emotions, experiences in life I've ever been through was just floating in that space. And I started organizing it. I'm like, this goes here, this goes there, this goes there, this goes there, this goes there. Every thought, feeling, emotion, and experience I've ever had. And I put into the planets where they're supposed to go in life. And I realized I am the sun. In my life, I am that sun. I am the gravitational pull. I'm the groundskeeper of my environment everywhere I go. I've been in places, and there's been these crazy successful people with a lot of money and like they're a big reputation, and they've just drawn to me and like made me part of their life somehow. And like I have connections. My network is huge, and I've always had a way to talk to people. I remember when I was 21, I just got out of a 3-year relationship. That girl and I knew each other off and on since we were 5. We were really in love, nothing wrong, but she moved a far distance away and wanted to do life on her own, and it was kind of hard, and I was pretty beat. I was like pretty sad and depressed, and I sat in my room and lived at home with no responsibilities. So my dad was just retired. He's recovering from his knee surgeries. I didn't go to jiu-jitsu. I called my job at the time and lied and said I had crazy mono and I couldn't go to work or something like that. And I just sat in my room, dude, for like almost 6 weeks. I didn't do anything. And my dad finally came in one day and he told me, I see you every day in here just wasting time. Right. And I was devastated. I like lost.
Yeah, it's hard, right?
Yeah. And he's like, you're wasting time. And he's like, you're my only next like bloodline generation of me. You have a gift that I, at over 50 years old, am still working towards every single day. You just have it. You can be anybody's best friend the second you meet them and talk to them.
Yeah.
You can see who they really are. He's like, that is huge, man. If you want to go be a world champion in any sport, you can do it. If you want to be a business owner, you can do it. If you want to go be a speaker, you can do it. You can do whatever you want because you just have that. I don't, and I envy that in you. Like, I respect that in you. You're my son. That's why, like, I want to see you do so well. And, this is years after all the chaos ended and my family became great and stuff. But I realized something. Like, my dad's right, and he's like, it doesn't matter what I say because I can't make you do anything, but you need to start seeing yourself how I see you and how the world sees you and not how you see yourself, because this isn't my son. This isn't the person that I made. This isn't the next generation of me, because I will never be like this. You need to pick yourself up and go. And sure enough, I went to jiu-jitsu like the next day, started watching old skate videos of my favorite pro skateboarders and things that originally made me happy since I was a kid. And I started getting back on my tracks. But what I found out was everybody in life that I come across who's some kind of icon or idol or whatever have just drawn close to me, and I've drawn close to them. And it got me to my next level in life. And so I realized in that realm, I am the sun, I am the gravitational pull, I am the groundskeeper of my environment. If I'm here, I'm the groundskeeper. If I'm at the gym, I am the groundskeeper. If I'm at any place, at the store, at Safeway, I'm the groundskeeper of my environment everywhere I go. I can talk to anyone, and it's not a problem. And people who are scared or shy or afraid, everyone's like, dude, I've never seen my dog like so cool with somebody the first time they meet them. Every animal I'm with, they're just so happy to see me.
Is it just that energy that you're putting off then?
Yes, it's an aura, and I really, really believe that is a true, real thing. Vibrations and frequencies. These microphones are working through what? Vibration of our voice.
Yeah.
Colors and what you see is all frequencies and vibrations.
That's true.
And it's like you can get what you want in life. You just need to get yourself to the frequency that one is on. It's a higher frequency.
I see what you're saying. So you're trying to encourage people to step outside, like we talked about that yesterday, like that comfort zone, and get on some sort of basically wavelength of where you need to be able to get you to those new heights. Right.
Yes.
So, and I mean, and that's all coming down to your type of communication, right?
Yes.
So what about, if you're talking about that then, or if you're thinking like, hey, how do I become this amazing communicator? I'm an introvert, I don't like talking to people, it gives me anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Obviously you and I aren't that type of person, but for that type of person that has that anxiety, how do you get out of that? Because it's not easy, right? Because then you get all that feeling in your chest. You know what I'm talking about when you have anxiety for something. That feeling in your chest, it's ripping you apart. How do you get over that?
Well, so that going back to the meditation aspect, when I was in that realm, I was like, whoa, this is insane. I need to get this message out. And I took a deep breath and I came back out of that into the higher layer of like hearing my heartbeat again, hearing my organs again, hearing my blood flow through my chest again, the little ant inside of my body. But I wasn't overwhelmed this time. I was excited. And then I took another deep breath and I felt the rain sprinkling on my arm again. I felt the breeze. I actually felt wind on my body again. Like I lost my physical feeling of my body. Like I felt the chair beneath me. Like I lost all of that. And I came back to it. And when I opened my eyes and took a breath, everything was like high definition. Like I just upgraded my sight and my understanding. I meditate a lot, and I've probably gotten into that state 3 or 4 times since then, right? And then things now will just randomly come to me. Like I'll be in the shower, I'll be walking, I'll be at the gym, like you just said earlier, I'll be, doing something, and it just hits me. I'm like, I have to write this down or like record it on my phone or something so I'll remember this, right? So what I broke it down into, and I wrote it down here, was basically how can someone start that? And like we said yesterday, they're not afraid to go through the pain. They're afraid to find out the identity of themselves and who they're going to become on the other side. Like the butterfly out of the cocoon, if you will, right? Okay. So basically, it all breaks down to this. And I've heard other speakers say your worldview, like your world and things like that. And I'm like, well, what does that mean too? There's this really successful guy. He's a PhD. He has his own practice. Really, really awesome dude. This guy, David Speechley. When I worked at Crunch, and for those of us in the area who know who he is, this guy is amazing. He would ride his bike. He's a road bike cyclist. He'd ride his bike up and down Mount Diablo, sometimes twice in a row, like at 5 a.m. And then he would show up to Crunch and teach 2 spin classes back to back. And he's from South Africa, and he's like, bro, today is going to be the best day of your life. No prisoners in your mind, no prisoners, bro. And he was just like, he would say that every single time to every person he saw. I love you. You are amazing. Today's the best day of your life. He would say that all the time. And he would be super tired, come into crunch. Let's go. What are you doing? Patricia, that's pathetic. What are you doing? Rachel, what are you doing? Nick, we got to go. Let's go on the bike. And people would literally fight each other and throw each other off of bikes just to get a spot in his class. And he was this motivated. Then he would shower up after 2 classes and then go to his practice across the parking lot. And he's a therapist for people like all day. And I'm like, this guy is just so like, what is his aura? Like, what frequency is he on? I need to find this out. He finally told me one day, the quality of your emotions defines the world you live in. Not the physical earth, but your world you live in. In other words, if you're happy, you're going to be in a happy world. If you're sad, you're going to see a sad world. If you're loving, you're going to be in a loving world. If you're uncertain, your entire world's going to be uncertain, right? And so I was like, wow, the quality of your emotions defines the world you live in. That is so true, because you can be happy at one moment, and then if you're driving and then someone like on the road pisses you off, all of a sudden you're pissed off.
Yeah, it throws off your whole entire day, right?
Yeah, and then it's just the momentum you build. And then after that, I was like, okay, quality of emotions defines the world you live in. Well, the quality of your communication is the quality of your life. People, not just communication with your peers, not just communication with things that don't matter to you, or communication in life in general, but communication with yourself, your understanding of your conscious mind on why you're doing what you're doing, right? And so think about it. We don't know how to communicate the right way. And like you said earlier in this episode right now is communication, how to break that down. So one of the times like that first meditation experience, I really got into another realm again, and I found, okay, emotional communication versus communicating your emotion. Now let's go into that. Now we're getting deep, like we're like in there. Emotional communication is subconscious. It's like a baby. It doesn't know what's real or fake. Emotional communication is when a baby doesn't know how to speak, obviously. If they're hungry or sad, or, you know, they went to the bathroom in their diaper, or they just want mommy or daddy, you're going to know because of the way they're emotionally communicating to you. The way they cry, the sounds they make, what they do. Just like a dog. If you're a dog and you have a loving relationship, and your dog needs to go outside or eat or whatever, you're going to know the way it's emotionally communicating to you. But again, it's a subconscious way, right? Because they're not physically telling you through words. So that's the subconscious mind. And that's over 80% of our society now. And that's why people nowadays are having a hard time and they're stuck, because they emotionally communicate. They don't communicate their emotion. Now, when you go to the other side, communicating your emotion, what does that mean? That's a conscious effort. That's a complete conscious effort. Now, imagine how you feel about something, but you don't know, and this is from personal experience, from 90% of people I've met in my whole life, don't know how to communicate what they feel.
That is such a true statement, because you don't know how many times that you've had that, like, or like whether it's a friendship or a relationship or whatever it is, or just talking to a coworker or somebody or a boss, or you don't know, and you have that feeling, and some people are just like, I can't even describe what I'm feeling right now. I'm like, why can't you? It doesn't make sense. Like, to me, somebody that I'm being naive about it, right? Where I'm like, I don't get it. It should be so easy. Like, why isn't it like that for most people?
It should be easy, but it's the hardest thing to do. And why it's like that for most people, for one, is none of us ever take the time for ourselves. Everything's go, 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 go. My phone's dead. I'm late to work. Oh my God, I gotta go. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. Time management is not there. And they don't actually take care of themselves. They don't understand why. Like, if you have a really nice car, right? I'm not even going that. Your iPhone, okay? If your phone breaks down, do you just take it apart on the back and try to fix it yourself and all the microchips or whatever is in there? No, you take it in the Apple Store to a specialist, right? Yeah. Why would you do that with your mind? Think about it. Like, we are going to other people and other resources and videos and things like that for our own mind. And, like, to me, that blows me away. We're trying to have coping methods through, like, sex or drugs or jobs or hobbies or physical things or, like, people, relationships, money. And we're trying to find it through that. And we're not looking within ourselves, because inside of ourselves we already have everything we need to find our clarity.
That's so true. And that's like I hear a lot of people too, like I hear it all the time, and it drives me nuts. And whenever somebody says like something, I always disagree with it, but it's always like the thing with like everybody nowadays, like every single person I know, they have anxiety, and they're like, my anxiety is driving me nuts right now. I'm like, what do you mean? You're like, well, I just can't handle like this is like stressing me out, and like, like they're basically like foaming from the mouth, and I'm like, why don't you just calm down, like, and like relax, like think about it, slow down, like process things, like, and it seems like that's almost impossible for some people, or they need to get prescribed some sort of like drug to show them like, oh, don't worry, like this drug will go and help you. I don't know about that.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
that is the problem. That is, if you go anywhere outside of America, mostly like Asia, right, you'll find them meditating.
Yeah,
you will find them meditating. When's the last time you did this in a non-stressful situation? And just breathe.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, it's a culture.
Nobody does that.
It's like you said, though, like Asia, it's like a culture thing. Like there's like, oh, they don't have all these crimes or like all these problems in Asian countries or New Zealand or wherever you are, some crazy island. Well, yeah, the culture is completely different. Like, it's almost accepted to be like that here, where it's like, oh, it's okay to have like all these problems and issues. Like, we're just gonna throw more stuff down your throat.
Like I just said, they're looking for outside sources.
Yeah, exactly.
They're taking on people.
Exactly.
They don't know how to communicate their emotion and all that. See, frequencies right now, we're on the same vibration, because that just what you just said leads to the next thing I have to say. Now, I have a huge theory, and I'm waiting for someone to say that this doesn't make sense. I've told this to a few people, and all of them have been like blown away. And what I'm saying is, my theory, I don't think people who are lying, cheating, and stealing in our society right now are making that impulsive decision because they're a bad person. I think they're making these impulsive decisions because they don't know how to communicate their emotion that's making them angry enough to make those impulsive decisions. I really have a huge feeling that deep down, we all just need to be understood. We all just want to be understood. That's it. Everyone just wants to have an understanding of one another and themselves. We all just want to be known and heard. We all want our words to be listened to. And I really think that if you could detach yourself from the moment emotionally and take your logic and your conscious mind and a deep breath and step away from the situation and say, okay, instead of attacking, instead of getting angry, instead of lying, cheating, stealing, hurting somebody else or myself, how can I do something for the first time? Because we already know how all that turns out, just chaos. How about doing something different for the first time and actually thinking, how can I, even just small steps, verbally communicate my emotion so this other person or whoever is involved can understand me? That right there would be, I have a feeling that if everybody knew how to do that, there would be way, way less drama, catastrophe, lying, cheating, stealing, relationships breaking up, divorces, jobs being laid off, people being fired. There'd be way less just negativity in our society. That's a huge, huge, huge focus.
Yeah, well, it's almost a lapse, right? A lot of people, I think you're right. I think if people were able to fundamentally understand what's going on, that they're or think about things from an outside perspective, right, that it would be, your thoughts would completely change.
See? And it all begins in your mind. Everything people wanted airplanes, we got airplanes. People wanted cars, we made cars. People wanted buildings, we made buildings. People wanted light and microphones, well, we're sitting under lights with microphones. And the thing about that is, like, we have the power to do that with our minds. We have the power of all this external or exterior, the technology outside. We have a completely different technology inside on our interior. And nobody ever wants to develop that in themselves because they don't know who they are. They don't know how to find their passion, which leads me into the next step. That's just the first step. The next step that hit me was, and I have it written down, the quality of your communication is the quality of your life. And so basically communicating to not just emotional communication and communicating your emotion, but communicating to every platform, to yourself, on not just other people, but if you have a better communication with yourself and your self-talk, you'll have so much better communication with everybody else in your life. Like, damn it, I need to work on this in the gym. I'm not fit enough. I'm too fat. I'm this, I'm that. Man, I don't have this. Man, I'm so angry. I have to go to work today. Man, my car, I need to fix this damn door, this piece of crap. Man, I hate the gas prices are almost $5 a gallon. Man, there's this. you're manifesting total destruction and malfunction in yourself. You're manifesting all of that in your life.
Yeah, it just builds up.
It builds up to that kind of frequency. So guess what you're going to attract? Now you're attracting every kind of frequency of negativity into your life. People you don't like, relationships you don't want, a job you hate, debt, depression, like maybe you're cheating on your significant other, or you're in a marriage and you guys are divorcing, or whatever. All of this comes from years of manifesting negativity, because that is all happening right now. Maybe like gangs killing each other for stupidest reasons, just the list goes on. Now, if you have different self-talk in your quality of your communication with yourself, like, you know what, the gas is $5 per gallon, but like at least I can at least I can fill up my car, and we have clean gas and oil for our car to run. At least I have a car. I can get from point A to point B. I'm not like this guy I see walking every single day who probably got a DUI or something. Man, this may not be the job that I like or want right now, but I'm getting paid. And there's people out there living on the street, or like, man, maybe I'm not as fit as I want to be, but at least I have a gym membership. Like, I have a clean gym to go and work out in right now. When there's people out there who can't even afford that, and they're like doing push-ups in their house and walking up a hill or something, or like they're not working out at all and they're not motivated, or they have old crappy rusty weights in the garage that aren't even new, and I can go and work out in this nice gym. It's like, or at least I have a goal to lose this weight now. Like, people who have arguments in relationships and they break up over it, and it's like, no, if you really realize that, I heard a monk say this one time, detachment is not that you own nothing, detachment is that nothing owns you. And I don't know if we said that in the last episode really, but like, think about it. Detachment is not that you own nothing, detachment is that nothing owns you. And people don't detach themselves from the situation, because it's not like the significant others versus each other. It's them together versus the problem and their understanding, because they're emotionally communicating. They're not communicating their emotion. Their quality of their communication is the quality of their relationship's life. So they need to recognize that and step back and take their logic away from the emotion and say, wait, I really care about this person. This is my teammate. I really want to make this work. So how can I communicate the emotion this makes me feel, instead of lying, cheating, or stealing from this person and hurting them and myself in the long run and regretting and saying, dang, I shouldn't have done that? How can I understand my own clarity and communication myself, so we can both recognize this is just a roadblock we have to get through, because relationships are always going to be up and down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like, that's the next step. And I think that's, if people understand their communication within themselves, their life quality will completely change, because I am living proof. I was stuck in a hole, because even those people who are introverts, or even those people who are stuck in the hole and they're not like me and they're not going to go physically do something and be triumphant. It's like, once I stopped my negative self-talk, I mean, I have my bad days. We all do.
Everybody
We're not perfect. Like, I'm like, damn, why am I not doing this? Or how come, I'm sitting here, I'm like not even 10% body fat, and I complain sometimes. Like, I'm just a perfectionist. Like, I need this about my body, that about my body. I need to go to the gym. I'm not this strong, and I'm stronger than most. And it's
you're not trying to tell people that, hey, you can never be unhappy. You should always be grateful. Like
exactly. It's
like
not
you're
realistic.
taking everything for granted. No, that's not really what you're saying. It's more like, hey, the goal is to have more good days than bad.
Yes.
Like, it's a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
You want to have more good days than bad, and you want to limit that as much as possible.
Like 9 out of 10 at least.
Yeah.
And so when you start your positive self-talk, like, dude, this job is just going to lead into the next thing. Finally, I'm going to have my own one day. And I was working around a bunch of different personal trainers, like with 4 different jobs that had to do with fitness. And when I became self-employed on my own as a personal trainer, I just started excelling because of all this experience and personal knowledge that I gained from all these trainers I was around and all these work environments I had to do with fitness. And I love it so much. And my self-talk is 9 out of 10 times it's so positive, and I never thought my old self would be in this state. And that leads to the last step. That's just the second step. The third and final deepest step is the quality of your clarity comes from the understanding of your persistence. So persistence and clarity. When I learned how to drive a stick shift car, and Travis, if you hear this right now, bro, like his Honda Accord at the time, dude.
I had something similar.
No, but he had like a really nice, it was a 97, I think, and it was 300 horsepower, and for a Honda Accord at 97 is pretty good. And man, it had all these mods on it, and it was like a badass car. Like, you would turn heads. Like, people were like, damn, it's a nice car. Well, in high school, I didn't even have a permit yet, and I didn't get my license until my 18th birthday. And so in high school, I was driving cars since I was 14, though, and just stupid stuff. Man, he would try to teach me how to drive his car, and I popped that clutch so much, dude.
My gosh.
And it was just do-doosh, and it was just Travis would almost have a heart attack every time we're driving. He's like, all right, screw this, I'm taking over. And I was just like, damn it, we're gonna get this. And I didn't understand. Actually, I didn't have any clarity about how the car is actually supposed to run, like how a stick shift actually works, and you're supposed to feel it more than focus on where to shift, on how many RPMs. It's like you have to feel the difference of the clutch and the gas,
right,
and baby it and take care of it. And so I wasn't motivated to be persistent enough to finally understand how it works and get it down. Well, once I took a deep breath and just sat at home one day, and I was, wow, why can't I actually get this stick shift down? Like, I love Fast and Furious. Like, I want a nice car someday. Like, I really need to get this down.
Yeah, you want to look like Vin Diesel going around the block.
Yeah. Be able to screw it. I'm just going to manipulate this car and just gun it, and all that cool stuff. Finally, I hit him up. I'm like, dude, let's give me another shot. And I got it. And I went back and I was calm. I said, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep persisting with a calm mind. And dude, I was only 17 or 16 or something. And sure enough, dude, I started, the stop and go is the hardest part. Like, shifting through the gears is fine, but stop and go is the hardest part.
I remember when that same, almost a completely similar situation with me is that when I was 16, I just got my license, and then it was like, okay, I need to get a car. I need to go to school somehow. Yeah. And so my parents were like, okay, you need to learn how to drive stick shift. They bought a stick shift car for me. It was a little beat up VW. And so, they took us to, my mom took me and my brother over to some school parking lot over by our house. And she's like, I sat down in the front seat, and she's like, all right, go. I was like, excuse me? And I was like, what? And she's like, drive the car. And I was like, I don't know how.
What is this other pedal?
Yeah, what do I do? And it was, looking back on it, it was awful advice, because she was just like, yeah, figure it out. And okay, it was good and bad, because then it forced me to, it forced that frustration out of me. Yeah. But then it also forced me okay, now here's what I'm doing wrong. How do I change exactly what the path is that I'm doing now to make sure that I'm do it differently next time? Yeah. And so it slowly just took that time of, like you said, that touch, and it's almost like that same thing of where you kind of have to not think so much, right? And that's the thing, is that everybody's overthinking constantly. That's our society. You overthink yourself to death, and I do that all the time. If you ask anybody, ask anybody that knows me, they're like, oh, that dude overthinks everything. I overthink everything, and it's something that I consciously think about. I'm like, hey, I'm overthinking this, because I know I've heard it so many times now. I'm like, okay, I gotta improve on it. So then there's other times where I catch myself where I'm like, I start to overthink, and I'm like, you stupid person, stop overthinking it.
Cut it out.
That happens all the time.
Yeah, and that's all of us. That's everybody. So I really thought, and once I took a deep breath, and Travis was so nervous. I remember the day we pulled up to the same stop sign that I always just blow his car. It sounds like an explosion. I swear, dude, I got it and it was fine. And then I got a stick shift car myself, and I can drive any stick ever now. Every stick shift truck or car that I've gotten in, I've just been able to drive it.
That it's like a stat now that they say only 18% of Americans or something like that can drive a stick shift.
Oh wow,
that's sad.
I didn't even know that. Yeah,
that's so sad. And
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've taught 3 of my friends now, but it's still it's like what you talked about. And when you tell people, oh, you drive a stick shift, isn't that tough? Don't you can't you not focus? It's not fun. Isn't that not fun? I'm like, it's the most fun thing to do when you're driving, is just focusing on that, dropping that clutch down and stepping on that gas.
You're in 5th gear and you're throwing third, and I'm out. Peace.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that people are like, I think that's that's a slippery slope, but I still think like people are going to in that direction now where like they just want the easy thing. They just I just want to go there. I just want to step on the gas and have the car go. I don't want to deal with all this other stuff that's going on. Just like how people are in life now. They're like, just give me the easiest way possible and I'll take that route.
Yeah, see, and that ties everything together. Like what I'm saying, and they just don't know where their quality is. They're focused on quantity. Yeah. And that's a huge fault. That's a huge fault, and that's very hard to get up from. Yeah. And that's why everybody's stuck. And
so life is just a big old stick shift car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hey, yeah, dude, good job. I love that. I didn't even think about that. Exactly. I just think about how it ties all together. Emotional communication that's not working out for you. It's subconscious. So stop. How can you communicate your emotion? Whatever that is to you. That is the first step. And it can be any emotion. It can be on like why you don't like black coffee or do you prefer black coffee, or why, like you like carbonated water compared to carbonated water, like why? You know what I mean? And try telling that to, I don't care if it's your dog or your friend or your parents or your boss, like just pull them aside and be like, can I practice real quick? And like on what? Like this is why I don't like black coffee, and really just verbally communicate your emotion about it.
Yeah.
And not any bad experience with pouring it on your lap on accident and burning your leg. Like, no. Like, actually just try to explain it. And then once it goes from there, once you can get that part down, quality of your communication is quality of your life. So instead of emotional communication, once you can get it down to where you can consciously communicate your emotion, now your self-talk with you. When you wake up every day, I'm going to kill it today. Every day I wake up and my feet hit the floor at 4:30 in the morning, dude, I'm like, before I even finish that thought of I don't want to do this, I'm like, hell no, I'm going to kill it today. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I get up like, let's go. And I'm still like super tired. But I'm like putting all my stuff together for a day, about to take my pre-workout and then go to the gym. Let's go. And by the time I'm driving to the gym, I'm like, let's go. And dude, and the whole day is just so much better after that. Yeah. Your self-talk, your quality of your communication with yourself.
Yeah, and that's not only communicating with other people, like you said. You got to
starts with you.
It starts with you, and that's going to make it easier. Because if you're comfortable with yourself, like you're not worried about getting embarrassed or what other people are going to think.
Exactly.
It's so much easier to go out throughout your day.
Your chest is up.
Yeah.
And guess where anxiety comes from? Your shoulders being hunched forward.
Yeah.
Being, super scared. I don't know what to do. No, dude, like your chest is going to be out. Your shoulders going to be back. You're going to stand tall and be proud.
I watched this clip on Gary V's podcast that he does. Have you seen Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
So he had Tim Ferriss on his podcast. Tim Ferriss is another motivational guy. And they had a caller call in and they were asking him, hey, I really want to start my business, blah, 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 but the only thing is like, I'm such an introvert. I can't talk to people. I don't know what to do. And it's like causing me like serious problems now. Yeah. And Tim Ferriss told him, okay, here's an exercise for you to do. Next time, for the next 10 places, wherever you go, if you're going to a restaurant or a store or any time that you're having to buy something, I want you to ask for 10% off no matter what.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, so whenever you go up and you're going to go buy like this water bottle or whatever, right? You're going to go up and buy this water bottle. And he's like, there's no deal, no discount. Who's ever checking you out, just be like, can I get this for 10% off? And he's like, not only will this be super uncomfortable and you'll get some uncomfortable reactions because people are going to be like, what do you
crazy,
mean? Yeah, like, no, you can't get this thing for 10% off. And then the second thing was also that it makes you comfortable. The second thing, though, is that you really don't know what people are going to say. Like, he's like, more often than not, when he tried this, he's like, this worked. He said maybe like 7 out of 10 times, he's like, I got 10% off.
See?
And he's like, you have no idea what just asking or just talking or just putting it out there into the world, like, that's going to do so much for you.
And guess what that leads to? Understanding your persistence. So when you understand your persistence, you're motivated to be more persistent. And what does that all lead to? Ultimately, you just have better clarity. Like everything you just said was just an example of what I just said.
Yeah.
And like, I've never heard that specific Gary Vaynerchuk podcast. I didn't even know that's out there.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he told someone to do that, but it totally makes sense. So that guy is way more motivated to be persistent, asking for 10% off because he understands how it works. He has more clarity about it. Right. And then think about what that does for his entire day.
Yeah.
It all ties together, man. You know what I mean? Like,
there's so much stuff like that where like if you don't ask, you don't know, right? It's like
closed mouths don't get fed, bro.
Yeah, see,
the answer is if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And you don't know what you don't know, so just swallow your pride and ask. Yeah. Like my girlfriend, dude, we've been almost together 2 years now, and going on like over a year and a half. When we first started dating, we'd be at the store. I'd be like, I'm going to go ask for help. She's like, no. Let's just try to find it in the aisle. I'm like, we can, what?
Like, why waste the time?
Yeah, like, no, I'm going to go ask for help. And then we'd argue. We used to argue about it or like bicker about it. And then she would never, I'm like, hey, go ask them for help, like the difference on this or where it is or whatever. And she'd always say no. Fast forward now, after she's realized like how good it works.
Yeah.
Now she'd be like, oh, I don't know where it is. Go ask them. Or she'll go ask someone for help. And it's like, because they have she has better clarity on how it works. Yeah. It can be the smallest little thing, like going to the store, asking someone for 10% off. But like, that's how it works.
Well, and it opens up your network, because you never know who you're going to meet or who you're going to talk to or what you're going to have in common.
Oh my
with
God. Big time, dude.
So, example, we talked about this before on the real episode 1.
Yeah.
But, But, when the way that you and I met, right, was that I worked actually not too far from here while you were working here. And I would come in and pick up my protein snacks and try and get healthy and look like Nick Jones. And so what ended up happening is that you were working at the register the first day that I came in. I was buying these Len and Larry's apple pie cookies.
Yeah.
Len and Larry, if you're listening to this, I'm like your number one product.
That flavor is bomb.
Apple pie, send me cartons.
We need like a lifetime supply.
I purchased too many. It's so unhealthy. But anyway, so I came in here and I had just read this book by Ryan Serhant, who is this big real estate agent, sales guy that talks about it all the time, that, hey, you really just need to go out and network. And he's like, when I first started, he's a real estate agent in New York. He's on $1 Million Listing now on Bravo. And so he had said, when I first started, he's like, I made $9,000 my first year in real estate. And he's like, I live in New York. Like, that can't get me anything. He's like, I'm going to have to go back and move in my parents' house if I don't figure this out. So he's like, how do I communicate? How do I talk to people? How do I just go out there? Because people are buying and selling houses constantly. It's all over the place. Yeah. So he had said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I just need to talk to as many people as humanly possible, and then it's going to get me there.
Exactly.
So he said he signed up for three gym memberships on 3 different sides of New York.
Right.
And so every single time he would go there, and sometimes it'd be there to work out. And most of the time, though, he's going there just to talk to the people that are in the gym, and figure out, hey, what do you do? How are things going? Blah, blah, blah. Just meeting people, never knowing where it's going to lead.
Right.
And then it turns out in the book, he talks about it. He met some guy that didn't buy a house from him for like a year, but a year later he bought like a couple $1 million like penthouse from him or something like that. And it totally changed his perspective. He's like, you just need a network. Go out there, talk to as many people as you can. You have no idea what it's going to do for you. It might be crazy. So when I came in that day, this all comes back around. I had just finished reading the book, and I was standing here. We start talking, and if anybody knows Nick loves to talk, obviously. Yeah. So he comes in here, and you start talking to me, and I had to get back to work, and I was like, man, they're going to be starting to wonder where I'm at. And then I thought about it, and I was like, okay, I got to get going. And I had said to myself, wait, don't you remember what he said in that book? Like, if I talk to this guy for maybe 5 more minutes, you never know what's going to happen, right? Wow. And so I had said to myself, okay, I'll talk to him for 5 more minutes. So I ended up talking to you, I think, for like 30 more minutes. Yeah. And it came out that we had all these same interests, right? We were all into like MMA and UFC and fitness and UFC and all this crazy stuff and talking up a storm. And I was like, and then I ended up walking out of there, and you're like, oh yeah, come back sometime. And I think I like for the next like 3 or 4 months, I came back like almost every single day. And we would just talk. We just talk endlessly, and figure out, try and take my nice break from my desk, right?
Yeah, and it's like, man, I wonder if I'm seeing Lance today. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, see, that was always the thing, is that I'd come in here and we'd talk BS about something. But that was the thing, is that I didn't know who you were. I had no idea anything about you, and you really never know until you just give them the time of day. Exactly. And now look what happened. Now we've completely turned this friendship into a business partnership, and we're going to hopefully take this thing into the next level. But none of that would have even been possible if I just didn't stay to myself, like, hey, you're going to stay for 5 more minutes and see what happens. And at least at the end of the day, you can go home and say, hey, I tried it. See? And now look.
And exactly. And, dude, I really appreciate that you told me that last time. Like, that blew me away. And still this day, I'm super thankful you decided to stay for that extra 5 turned into 30 more minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
But and we built this, foundation with each other, man. It's incredible. And this relationship's super dope. Yeah. And, like, Well, that just, it all goes back to just talk to someone, and like it goes back to our first episode, or 1.5 of saying, why? Okay, if you're listening to this right now and you're like everything we've said, and if there's one thing, if anybody out there has heard this and said, man, that's me, that sounds like me, man, like these are the steps I need to take to do that. It's like, why are you spending your entire life doing things on your own or with people who don't know how to do what you're looking to what you're looking to conquer, what you're looking to accomplish, what you're looking to find out for yourself? It's like, why are you spending your life right now every day angry at yourself because none of these people in your surrounding want what you, or have what you want?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, why? How come you keep doing that to yourself?
Yeah.
Because you're afraid to take that first step.
It's the stupid iPad.
It made it through most of this episode.
It made through most of it. It tried. It tried.
There
So I'm going to have to turn again. Can we see me over here? Oh, we can.
Handsome boys.
See, you can see it actually probably even better on this side.
Some handsome boys, man.
But, yeah, I completely agree. It's just.
Look at that. Look at this new computer. Look at this. Looking good, man.
But, I completely agree with you. The way that you go about it and the way you present yourself to the world is going to get what you get in return, right?
100%. And to break it down, it's not like you have to meditate and go with your hands and the finger. No, just like literally sit with your eyes closed. The best way to do it is in nature surrounding, or sometimes in my apartment when the sunlight's kind of shining in, and I'll open the screen door, or leave the screen door closed, but open the door and like hear your, the trees in the background and like the nature, and like with some calm melody playing, and just turn everything off. Turn the TV off, lights, turn everything off, and just sit and close your eyes, a deep breath. And it's gonna be overwhelming at first, but like give it a try, give it a shot, and it's incredible, man. Like once you get past your overwhelming thoughts after 5 or 10 minutes of like what pisses you off or what you're not happy with in yourself or what's uncomfortable, and once you get past that, dude, it's incredible what you'll find out in yourself. Yeah. And I recommend everybody try that. Then I like how last time we said to try do one thing uncomfortable every day until you hear our next episode. This is the next thing. Try that.
Yeah.
Try to meditate somehow, even if it's for 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and see where it goes.
Yeah, let us know how it goes, and see if it works for you. And just because one thing doesn't work for you doesn't mean something else will. So you got to try a bunch of different stuff and just figure out what works.
Exactly. And breaking it down. The quality of your emotion defines the world you live in. Your emotional communication versus communicating your emotion. You separate those two, you divide them in half, and you put yourself in the middle, you'll find who you are. Learn those. Practice them. The quality of your communication is the quality of your life. Your self-talking yourself. First, your communication with yourself, because like we said last episode, you cannot pour water from an empty cup. You need to take care of yourself first. If you're not your first priority, no one else can depend on you. So you need to depend on yourself in a non-selfish way. Improve your self-talk. Quality of your communication in yourself is the quality of your life. Learn it. Practice it. And then the quality of your clarity comes from the understanding of your persistence. You're not going to be motivated to do something the first time you fail if you don't have clarity about why you're doing it. You can't do that without doing the first two first. There's 3 steps. Learn that. Practice it. And let us know how it goes.
I love it. I think we're at about an hour again.
Perfect.
So we're doing good.
We're doing so good.
Let's wrap it. Episode 2 officially in the books, right?
Yeah, it's in the books. It is over. We got all you need. All you need. That's episode 2, man.
Episode 2. So let us know in the comments what you think. Go ahead, try some of this stuff out. We're not gonna come out here and preach and say that we know absolutely everything about anything, but we're just letting you guys know what works for us and what other people have told us works for them. So, go out there and let us know, but hit us up in the comments. Effort, absolutely.
Give it effort.
Hit us up on IG, YouTube, Instagram. Catch us everywhere. We're going to be everywhere. Shout out to NutriShop for letting us film here.
Tell your friends.
Yep. Tell everybody. Tell your
neighbor's dog.
Yeah, your mom, your dad,
the guy at the gas station.
Exactly. Go talk to people. So tell
the person in the drive-through window.
Tell them Jackson and Jones sent you. All right.
That's right.
All right. Well, hit us up. Like, subscribe, do all that crazy stuff, and we'll catch you on number 3. Number 3 will be our first featured guest.
Yes.
We're keeping that on the down low for you guys, but you guys will catch that probably next week, and then here we go.
we got all you need.
Peace, everybody.
Peace out.